I have chosen my main and my ults for Season 2 patch 12.1. What's up guys, Petko here. I'm going to talk about today exactly why I have chosen those ults and why do I think they are going to be performing well in Season 2. And obviously, you guys, some of you already know what I'm going to main, but for the people that do not know, you're going to find out in a second. Once again, thank you for watching and enjoy the video. I have chosen to play actually 2 range ults and 1 melee. Now the reason why I chose to play 2 range because I do find the range more fun and I have always been a range player, hence why it felt natural for me to choose that. And one of the reasons why I have 3 ults is because I choose 2 ults basically on performance and just betting on them being like really very strong next season in case Ellie is not very strong this season. And I've also chosen one ult which I find quite fun. Not necessarily the most OP spec, but just something to take off the pressure, something to have fun with, and that's why I have 3 ults. 2 performance, 1 just for the funsies. That's all. Alright, so the clear winner when it comes down to being a main of mine for the past 7.5 years is and will be Elemental Shaman. Elemental Shaman this time around, just like the past couple seasons, have been performing really good on PTR, and it is one of the best range options right now when it comes down to power, which again, it is quite important when you have to main something. On top of this, you're currently playing Farseer, which I find visually a lot more appealing due to the ancestors that you're spawning all the time while fighting. For me, that's actually quite important feature as well. On top of this, Shaman has one of the best, arguably the best, or one of the best utility for Mythic Plus content, because remember, Bloodlust, Purge, Poison Dispel, Curse Dispel, Stun, you've got Sky Fury as well, right? So all of this together, it just helps a lot when it comes down to picking up a main, because even if you end up not being the highest damage spec possible, which I believe Ellie is not the highest damage possible spec, the whole utility can sometimes carry you through, and potentially you might be invited over, over that. If you need a BO, for example, I could see it happening. Okay, that's one of my reasons to play Shaman so far. And also raid wise, I think there are a few fights as Ellie in raid that can do pretty well, and that there's some of them that are just pretty bad. Like for example, anytime you have like a 2-target cleave, I find it slightly stressful because you just don't do two-target cleave damage. You're like, your 2 targets is just single target. It is quite disappointing, but that's a small price to pay for everything that the Elemental is shaping up to be. Alright, so the first ult I'm choosing for this season is going to be Balance Druid. Now, Balance Druid has been doing amazing so far on PTR. Needless to say, one of the strongest contenders for the meta right now. On top of having absolutely ridiculous crazy AoE damage, they also offer, once again, the Mark of the Wild buff, which is infamous to be present in every single meta comp for the past couple of years. And this time around, I am also betting on Druid to be extremely good in Mythic Plus. The utility toolkit, high enough damage. The only bad thing of Balanced Druid that I find to be is their rotation. At times just gets a bit boring because you just been playing the same rotation for the past couple of years. You Moonfire targets, you Sunfire when they stack, you pop up your Eclipses, and you just Fury for Loom whenever you can, and measure cooldowns, 2 charges, you just press them and do damage. That's pretty much the whole loop, and it's been the case for a while, so nothing really is changing on Balance Druid. You are still keeping up to play Elun's Chosen, which is your M+ preferred build, unless obviously there are some changes in like a week from now that could potentially change what you're playing, but for the most part, I expect to be the same. Defensively also the same, you rely on Barskin to have a defensive, and also Bear Form if push comes to shove, if you can do that if you like to. And another reason why I chose Balance this season is because the utility profile fits the dungeons. There's a lot of Poison Dispels, which I believe if you don't have Poison Dispel in some, you're gonna be finding yourself quite in trouble. And there are a few curses here that can, benefit from you having Curse Spell. And one last thing is a lot of you still don't remember this, but Suit is present on Druids and Suit is present on Balance Druid, which if you guys don't know what that means is you can enrage Dispel targets. Now there are very few important enrage Dispels encounters or in general fights where you have to have Suit to help you tank, specifically in KR, the first area. Without Suit, it just feels to be really troublesome at some point. So I think that might be needed in the highest or the highest keys possible. So my first ult, Balance. All right, my next choice of oath is going to be Unholy DK. Now, I did say I'm going to be playing 2 ranged and you know, one melee, and I believe Unholy DK is actually just pretty much a range at this point because you can do your whole rotation while being away from melee. The reason why I'm choosing Unholy DK is because not that it's the strongest spec. I think Unholy is most definitely not as strong as it used to be last season. However, here's what I'm banking on. Death Knight in general is already very strong. Like both Unholy and Frost Decay, I believe, have very similar performance to what you can achieve in M+. But here's what I'm banking on. Unholy has actually execute, right? I think execute damage is something that a lot of you guys are still, you know, underestimating, and the power of it, especially when it comes down to important mobs. Hence why I feel like Unholy Decay might benefit more from that than any other spec. On top of this, Blood Decay is so crazy good. And now you guys gonna ask me, hey, Petko, that doesn't make sense. If Blood Decay is good, then why do you prepare DK DPS ult? Oh, because I'm expecting Blood Decay to get nerfed. Okay? The difference between Blood Death Knight and other tanks when it comes down to damage contribution is actually quite large, and that's why I'm expecting Blood Decay to get slashed and nerfed. And when that happens, you might see Death Knight DPS rising up. Also, there are a few specs that are notably very strong right now, but quite squishy. An example, Windwalker Monk is currently one of the highest DPS specs in the game, however, they are quite squishy. Question remains, are they going to be able to survive the highest keys? If the answer is yes, you play Monk. If the answer is no, you might want to look for alternatives like Death Knights and Red Paladins, which are arguably much more tankier than Windwalkers are. Wow, DK is for sure more tankier than Windwalker because you have so many options to live, plus grips, plus you're just passively tanky, right? So that's naturally one of my leading factors of choosing Death Knight. Even if it doesn't become to be OP spec like last season, I still believe they are going to be in a good spot to, you know, push for title or even 1%. So that's about it. And rotation wise, now if we end up playing Sandlin Unholy Decay, I'll be happy because I like Sandlin playstyle, at least when it comes down to pushing high level keys. But Sandlin sucks to play lower level keys. So if you are, you know, not trying to push up to like 1% or 0.1%, Unholy DK Sandlin is going to be absolutely terrible for you. Then maybe just play Riders. At this point, a few days before the patch comes out, we don't have the official sims yet for every single spec, so I don't know what would be the recommendation for Death Knights in N+, but I'm going to be sticking to playing Rider of the Apocalypse now. And if I'm getting to the highest level keys, I'm swapping to Sunland. That's my logic. It might change down the line if it does get some more changes. But visually speaking, I think Unholy DK is also one of the most pleasant specs to play because you summon a shit ton of minions. It kind of reminds me of like Diablo 2 Necromancer, and it's just fun for me. That's all. That's my reasoning. I hope the bet works out. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. Alright, and last but not least, my last ult is gonna be purely for fun, not because it's strong, and that's gonna be Survival Hunter. Now, I know what you guys are gonna tell me, whoa, Petko. Aren't all hunters kind of bad? Well, I wouldn't call them bad, I would just say, you know, they're not doing that great, okay? But the reason why I'm choosing Survival is because I believe Survival is one of the most fun specs to play in Mythic Plus right now, not because how strong it is or how weak it is, okay? I like the rotation flow of the Survival. I like the bomb build, even though right now people are recommending to play a Raptor Strike build. I really like the combination of Wildfire Bomb plus Boomstick builds, especially if you are trying to play Wildfire Shells, which again, it gives you a lot more bombs to play. Or recently I've been enjoying also to play Mungo's Rounds, which again, it's kind of the less bombs, but bombs are stronger. And just the whole loop of Survival is fun. You get to choose your pet, you get to throw bombs, you get to throw boomsticks, you have short cooldowns, you can play a minute and a half or 1 minute, and for the most part, it just feels consistent and nice. That's it. That is the TLDR why I like Survival. Is that going to be a strong spec? Not really. I don't think it's going to be so far unless they get buffed. Is there a chance Survival to get buffed? It is. There is always a chance, but for me, I choose this because I just want to be entertained while playing in Plus, and I feel like, yeah, maybe I get too bored out of playing another spec, so that's why I want to jump on Survival and just have fun. That's all, guys. All right, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you learned something from it. I don't know what you guys are gonna make all this season. I really hope you guys have made our decision, because there's 4 days left until the patch comes out, and actually 10 days before the season, so technically you still have time to choose whether you want to be maining or ulting something. But in case you're still unaware, check out our performance-based tier list. On Sunday, this Sunday, we should be doing the final update at 2 o'clock Central European time. Quite a few has changed, so hope you guys will have fun with them. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.